So, welcome to the first tutorial on HTML. So let's begin coding. And the first thing we do when we want to become a web developer is we start with HTML. Okay, HTML is basically a very simple, basic startup markup language that allows us to create the fundamental structural content on a web page. So every content that you see on your web page, any website in the world, fundamentally it is structured using HTML, and it has been for decades and so forth. Okay, so this is a wonderful and very simple, very easy to follow language. We will try to make this session very quick and simple. Again, we are using W3 Schools website as a reference website. So if you have for the first time and if you have used this website, I'm sure every programmer who wants to learn coding has used this website. It's an amazing, fantastic website. So let me use this website as a reference material, and I will be using this reference and codes examples from this website to elaborate what HTML is and how we can use that. Again, since this is an open website, you can use it for yourself as well. So head on to W3Schools.com. This is a website here. Let's go and start HTML. This is the default first page that we get. Now we're going to start with something called introduction here, what HTML is. Okay. So let's begin this and let's start learning HTML from scratch and complete this session. And okay, so before we go further, if you haven't, if you're here for the first time, if anyone you want to learn HTML or web programming or any of these technologies, remember I will be making an entire series of lectures using W3School websites, and I will be covering all of these major technologies using this W3 website. So do let me know which technology you are interested in, and I can jump in and create that video for you before I go. Otherwise, I will be making them in a sequence in my own understanding. So if you want to learn more, learn to become coding from Python to data science or whatever technology you are into, from jQuery to React or React Native, let me know and I will try to cover all these tutorials. I'm trying to cover all these tutorials in next 1 year. So this is what we will be talking about throughout the year, and we will talk about and cover all these major technologies using this website and other resources, and it's free resources that are available online as well. Okay, so do send me a shout out, do let me know, right? So that I keep making more lectures. Let's begin. Now, HTML, let's begin with this. So first thing we do about HTML is that HTML basically stands for a hypertext markup language. Okay, it's a hypertext markup language, which basically means that it's a markup language. It's not a script, it's not a programming language, it's not a logical language, it's just a simple markup structural language that allows us to structure the content on a web page. So everything you see on your website is basically structured using what we call HTML. That's the gist of HTML. Okay, it doesn't have like it's not a conventional programming language or imperative programming language like Java, C++, C Sharp, and other languages. Okay, this is a very simple scripting language, and it is amazing. It's one of the best languages I believe in the world. It's so simple, so easy to use because it doesn't have any complex structural rules. It doesn't have any complex syntax rules. It has a very simple and easy to follow concept that you need to understand and you need to implement. Okay, it consists basically series of elements, what we call elements are basically tags that we're going to talk about. And then that's it, that's the whole concept that you have to understand. In HTML we use something called tags, elements, that's it. Okay, and then we use them, the way we use them basically matters how we're going to use them. All HTML elements tell the browser basically how to display the content on your browser. Okay, so HTML basically tells that this is my content, this is how I'm going to structure it, and how you are supposed to display this content on the browser. That's what HTML does. Okay. So HTML element label pieces of content such as this is the heading and this is the paragraph. This is basically what it does. So the way it tells the browser is that okay, this content that I'm writing, this is my HTML heading. The content that I'm writing now is a paragraph. This is supposed to be my link. This is my image. It's like a plain English content. So if you when we talk and when we define something, we do that in normal English, and this is what HTML does. And the only technical aspect to it is that it uses a specific syntax of tag to do it. How does that tag work? Let me show you in an example here. So what this basically is that this is a simple HTML document that displays the content. Let's see what output is first so that we can explore this in more detail. So if I click on try it yourself, so if you are here in the website, you will notice that this is what we basically can do in our HTML. So now we have this simple code and we can, this is again live editor. So whatever changes you make here, you click on run and will be shown the output. So this is a sample showing me my heading and my paragraph. So this is a simple HTML page website that we can say without any colors and graphics. So don't worry about that. This is how basically it works. What this code is doing is this is basically a simple HTML code, and what it's trying to explain to this browser that I'm going to create a document which is type HTML. Okay, and the way the HTML is going to work, that okay, here's my HTML, it's going to start from here, and this backslash HTML is going to tell the browser started HTML here, and this is where my HTML ends. Okay, so this is what how the browser basically tries to understand this code. Okay, so it said, okay, here's my HTML, I'm starting the code here and I'm ending the code here. Within this, then he said, okay, there's supposed to be something called a head. Within the head, I'm going to tell you a title of my page. So this title is supposed to go somewhere around this tab. So when you see these tabs in your browsers, this is what title does. So it is going to tell me, hey, this is the head. And within the head, I gave another tag called title. So this is going to tell the browser, this is my title. Then this head is closed. Now we talk more about head later on. Okay, then it starts the body. So body is basically what the users see. So this is the body of the page that I can see as a user. So everything the user sees goes inside the body. Head is basically associated with something called the browser information and metadata. Using the head, we tell the browser, hey, this is my metadata or information about my web page. What is the title of my web page? What are the resources, links, style sheets, JavaScript I'm using within my web page? All this additional data basically goes inside the head. And then we have something called the body. All that information that is supposed to be shown to the user is basically put inside the body. Okay, then inside the body, basically this is a whole web page area. We have here's my heading. So I told the browser that H1, this is my first heading. Okay, this H1 basically doesn't mean the first one, it means the largest font size. So H1 is like the heading 1 means a large font size, so largest font size possible. Show me a heading with the largest font size, make it bold. Then P means paragraph, so I'm writing a paragraph here. So whatever I write inside this basically becomes a paragraph. So this is the basic gist of how HTML is working. Simply in terms, here's my HTML document. The HTML code starts from here to here. This is information for the browser that, hey, display this title on this. And inside the body, this is what the user needs to see. And here's my heading, here's my paragraph. How do we go further into it? Okay, we use this thing called text. So let me explain that what exactly is happening with these and these brackets here. So what's it's saying is that, okay, here's a tag, and then tag start. Okay. So this is basically a starting a tag name and then tag ending name. Every HTML element has something called a start tag and an ending tag. The tag syntax is that it starts with this less than sign, ends with this sign, or again corner brackets and corner brackets. So this corner brackets, left and right corner brackets are there. This is again left and right corner brackets. So whatever we write inside it becomes my tag, and then within this brackets. So every tag has a start tag, then it has an end tag. So this becomes my end tag because I have used the backslash here. So this backslash indicates that I'm using an end tag. End means ending tag, closing tag. Okay. So we start a tag, we give some content here, and we close a tag. This is the entire HTML code. This is the entire HTML syntax. This is all you need to understand and learn. The HTML is done. All you need to understand that whenever we write an HTML code, we give a tag. Okay. Tag is basically instruction to the browser, what I want to do. Okay. This is all there is to HTML. Okay. For example, if I'm writing a heading, I created a heading tag, H1, and I'm telling my browser that I'm using a heading 1. Heading 1 means that it's supposed to be a largest heading size. Then there is a H2 as well, H3, H4, H5, H6. So I'm telling my browser, hey, browser, create a heading for me. That's it. Hey, browser, I'm writing a paragraph. So P basically is a paragraph tag that defines that I'm writing a paragraph. So whenever we go to the HTML, we wrote this paragraph tag here, which is telling the browser, bro, I'm writing a paragraph. That's it. That's the simple gist of it. So every HTML has to have this tag. Okay, as simple as that. Every HTML we write has to have these tags. And now notice we started an HTML tag, we ended an HTML tag. Then we started a head tag, we have an ending head tag. Ending means using this backslash. So these corner brackets, left and right, these corner brackets, and within this we write the name. Then we started a body tag. So each tag is basically an instruction to the browser telling it what we are doing. Okay, so body means, hey, this is the body area which is supposed to display to the user. Hey, this is the head area that's supposed to go to the head. So we're just segregating our content using these tags and each tag has a certain purpose to it. So this title is like a predefined tag. When browser reads this word title, it understands, okay, I'm supposed to put a title on my web page. That's it. Okay. So when it says H1 means, okay, I'm using a heading. That's it. So I'm going to make this text appear as the largest possible font size. Then it says paragraph. Okay, here's a paragraph. I'm going to put this as a paragraph content. What happens is that when we use this, notice there's a space here. So if I write, for example, hello, this is my HTML example. Okay, so I write it, click on the run, it appears on the next line. However, if I come here and I said, okay, let me put a new line to it, and in this course, we are going to learn about HTML. Done. And I hit run again. So it appears on the same line. Why? Because it doesn't recognize that, or we haven't told it that this is supposed to be on the new line. Okay, we have just told it, hey, this is a paragraph. This is a paragraph. So it will stick to your rules. That's another thing. HTML and web browsers, they work together. Every code that you write will be executed by your web browser. So if I can control A, control C this code. Let me go inside my VS Code and select this folder. And then, so I have opened my VS Code. Let me create a new file. Pasted the same code here. Press Control S. Yes, I trust this author. Control S. And then I will save my code here. So I will say just first hello world. Okay, .html. Now, because I'm creating a web page, every web page must end with an HTML extension. Every web page has to have that. As simple as that. You click on save. This becomes my web page. Wonderful. To execute this code, we execute this code inside our web browser. Okay, so we say go to my web browser, open this file, double click on it. The best way, if you're using VS Code, it has something called a go live feature. It will automatically open the code for you in your browser. Or you can go to the folder where you have saved this file, double click on it, it will execute in the browser. So basically, when we write our HTML code, we can write it anywhere. We save it as .html, then we just double click on it, it will execute the code and it will open up in my browser. Browser is basically responsible for executing your HTML code. So these tags are basically instructions to the browser what you're supposed to do. So in this case, we've told it create a paragraph. We said, okay, I've created a paragraph. That's it. It will stick to your comments. It will stick to your text. It won't do anything by on itself. So if you need a new line, that's a new instructions. Okay, it's a new instruction. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use a tag called BR, break line. Okay, so what this now means is that I'm telling the browser that, hey, after this line, you're supposed to enter a new space, break this line. Once you save it, go back to your code. Now you will notice that there's a space here, new line here. So this is basically the gist of HTML. This is what you need to understand, that in HTML, we use tags. Text tag with these corner brackets, left and right. Within this, we write the tag name. Okay, and then these tags basically give instructions to the browser. Whatever you write inside the tag, based on the tag name, the browser will execute as per the same. Okay. So for every operation, every style, every structuring you want to do, you have a specific text. And you write content within the tag. Now do notice here that I have written BR. This is a starting tag, as we discussed. This starting tag, this is starting tag, this is starting tag, and then there is an ending tag. So body has an ending tag. Paragraph, we started here, we wrote the content, and we ended the paragraph here. We gave title, start tag, ending tag. However, there's no ending tag here. There are a few exceptional tags in HTML that do not have the ending tag feature. They are basically isolated tags. So do keep thing in mind. We will talk about this go on. There are not many, few, 5, 6, 7, 8 on, you can count them on fingertips, like BR, like HR, like image, and so on and so forth. But we will be talking about them in mind. So do keep in mind that there are few tags that don't have ending. So now, coming back to the point, every tag that we use in our HTML is basically an instruction to the browser. So heading 1 is instruction to the browser. So whatever we write, basically we're telling it to the browser, this is my page, let me display it. How does this code work? Again, so the way that we structure this entire code is we write an HTML tag. So this HTML tag becomes a structure. Everything we write goes inside this HTML tag. Every HTML code goes inside this code. Then we wrote head. Head is like a metadata. This head will tell my browser what I'm supposed to do. So this instructions, this is metadata to my browser. Body again becomes the third component. So the body is what the user sees. Whatever this page area that I'm being shown is basically inside this body area. So even this web page that I have available, everything has been structured in the same way. So this HTML page 1 is heading 1, then there is a paragraph here. So this is a paragraph, then I have this border area, created in a div HTML, and I've assigned a border and background color to it. So you can do everything with that. So this is all different tags and styles that we applied with this thing. Now, the thing to note here is things. Every single HTML document in the world has this simple structure. It has HTML tag, it has a head tag, and it has a body tag. So if I come here and let me rephrase this. So every code that we write in the world in HTML form has this HTML tag. Okay, it will have this head tag. Let me increase the font, the screen size a little bit. Okay. It will have this head tag, and it will have this body tag and backslash body. Okay. That's it. This is the basic HTML structure. Every single web page has this. We tell the browsers that I'm writing an HTML code. We give it a head and we give it a body. Every instruction that is supposed to be for the browser goes inside this head. Every instruction that is supposed to be displayed to the user should go inside this body. Okay, that's the basic logic of it. Browsers tell information like the title. So this is basically a tab. The tab title is supposed to be browser related. That's why we give it there. Then we can have a metadata information about your character sets, about your meta information, about your page width, about your style sheets that you're using, CSS, JavaScript, link, XYZ. So lots of information not to be shown to the user directly, concerned with the browser and goes inside it. So this is basically HTML structure. Now here's the fundamentally wonderful thing about HTML also. It's a very relaxed language. Okay, it's a very relaxed, very cool language. So by this we mean, if I create a head here, this code will also work. So if I take this head, Control X, and I paste it below the body, what should happen now? In other languages, there are rules, there's a syntax, there's a structural rules that we need to follow, like C++, Java, how we write the statements. There is a sensitivity, full stops, commas, spaces, they matter a lot. HTML is a wonderful language. It says to hell with you, I will do whatever you like. As long as you write the tag, I will execute it. It doesn't matter that head is written first or last, it will still execute. Even if you don't write HTML closing tag, Control S, the code will still execute. I don't write, for example, this head at all, and I just gave it the ending tag, Control S. What should happen now? Should I see this title? Okay, so I have a page title, Control S, save it, come here, hit a refresh, and you see it's still there. Exactly. Even though there is no starting tag, even though there's no head tag, there's just an ending head. We haven't even started it. This should be an error, but HTML doesn't give an error. It's just a very chill out browser. It's just, hey, bro, I know what you're trying to do, and I will do it. This is how beautiful, and as I said, it's the most wonderful language that we use. Because keeping in mind, there is structure to it, but the structure is not rule bound. That if you don't use it, the code would still execute. Because you have given this title, HTML, the browsers know that this title is supposed means to go here. It means that I'm writing a title. It will do this thing anyway, regardless of whether you have written head or not. Okay. The problem would be if I remove this title now. Now browser doesn't know what to do with this thing. That doesn't, even though there's a closing tag, doesn't understand what to do. So if I save it, go back to my code, now you see this, the header has changed. This page title appears on the page itself. What happens now? What do we interpret this? We interpret this that browser, the HTML still didn't give us any errors. It won't give errors. The only problem is that the output is not as what I desired. That's the key thing to understand with HTML, that there is no technically errors, problems in the code. There's what we call the logical issues. We don't even, I personally don't even use the word error. We say there's a logical issues in the code. So the logical issue is that this should be a title and it's appearing in my body. It should not appear here. That's a simple logical issue. There's no error, but it's not what I wanted because I messed up the code structure. Yeah, I can write a title here and I can remove the ending code. What happens now? So if I don't write an ending code, this is just HTML body and the title after the body. If I press Ctrl S, go back here, see this works. Wonderful. This is why I love HTML. Okay, why does this work? Because it knew that it's a title. It says, okay, I'm supposed to put the title here. Done, page title, done, no ending tag. But it already executed the code. This is called executing line by line. This is called interpreter based code. So browser actually executes your code line by line. So it reads the title, takes this content and puts it on the title, and then says there's no ending tag. It says, okay, no problem. It just goes for the next instruction. That's the beauty of it. That's why we still get the output page title correctly. However, now this code is in a terrible form. What happens is that now this is what we call a non-recommended, non-professional code, are not according to the W3 standards. So we are required to make sure that our code meets a certain standard. But this is not the rule. Most amazingly, I can come here and I can make this code as well. This like this T-I-T-L-E, Control S. So now I have a T capital, I small, then again T capital, and then L-E. Other languages, this would create a disaster. This would give errors because they are called case sensitive. HTML is not case sensitive. So even if I come here, reset, see this page title appears correctly. Come here, H1, make this H capital, no problem. This is small. The end starting tag is capital, the ending tag is small. Come back here, it still works perfectly. The only problem is if I separate this as a space, now it might get confused. You said, oh, what is this? H1, I don't know this tag, because now it is saying that this is supposed to be a tag. So space would create a problem. Okay. And if you rename it, change right to something else, it will create a problem. It won't know. But capital letters don't matter. Okay. Now here, what happens if I write that heading 1 after the paragraph? Control S. See this? What is happening? The heading has came after the paragraph. So because it's a structural language, it's a step-by-step instruction. It's reading the code step by step, line by line. It is reading HTML. It says no head. It doesn't care. It sees body. I says okay. It reads the paragraph first. It prints the paragraph first. Then it goes here. Then it reads the heading. Then it prints it. I can even skip this body. This should also work. I can skip this body. This should also work. Control S, come here. See this, the code is still working. I'm still getting page title. So I have nothing here. Still the code is working. I can even remove this thing. And there's no ending HTML, no ending HTML. Come here, the code is still working. Why? Because browser needs these tags. As long as it understands the tags, it will execute output. No worries at all. But why we write it? Because it's always recommended to have this code inside your body, inside your every page, because this is a standard that every web page should have this in this particular structure. It's what we call a consortium. It's just a guideline. Okay, so to do that, now see this, the code makes much more sense. It's always better. There's a starting and ending tag. Just makes the code more readable. Then nowadays with many devices, if you don't follow the exact conventions, the website might not appear as you want it to appear. So this is something to keep in mind. Okay, so do follow this standard. It always makes your code nice, makes your code more professional, helps you when working in a team. Then you can use it. Then also, like I said, use the small letters. This is again one of the consortium that we follow. Every tag that we will now go through will be in small letters. You can use a capital letter, no harm in that. But the consortium, W3 consortium is there. We will talk more about that later on. It says, bro, please, chill, relax, use these, follow these standards so that code becomes a consistent and many developers throughout the world can use it. Okay, so this is just an overview of how HTML is working and how HTML is doing. If you understand this tag, then okay, heading is giving me a tag, paragraph is giving me a tag. If I use a BR, it's just creating a new line to. This is text. So these tags are basically what we do in HTML. Now, all of these rest are basically tags. So if I go inside, for example, heading, we will more about it. Okay, these are all heading tags. Then paragraph, these are paragraph tags. Styles, everything is same. Okay, so we just use the tag name, we give a style. Format. If I go here, sorry, then you will find that this is bold, italic, emphasize, mark, small letters, subscript, superscript. All of these are basically tags. Tag meaning these corner brackets. We will be covering this in the next videos as we go along. We will talk about all these tags in every single video as we go along. So I hope you understand this. So don't worry, in next videos, we will go and discuss as many tags as we can. So this is basically the whole gist of HTML. Okay, so if you understand this HTML, now the next thing is just go through various different tags, understand what the instruction is, what it is trying to do with the browser, and we use it to structure our content. done it. Thank you very much for watching. If you for the first time and you were listening to this, like, enjoyed it so far, do give me a thumbs up. Do leave your comments what you found interesting, what do you want to learn next, any specific issues you're having, and I'm happy to solve you out. And by the end, don't hit to hit follow me and hit the subscribe button. Okay, subscribe please. See you around. Thank you.